This topographical cross-section shows the Maldives' defining feature. The lowest country on Earth sits just 2.6 meters above sea level, with no high ground. Zooming out, its 1,200 islands across 26 atolls are swallowed by 90,000 square kilometers of open ocean. Travel brochures sell you isolated stretches of empty white sand. They don't show you Malé. The capital city is an intensely crowded block of colorful high-rises dropped directly into the sea, rivaling Manhattan's density. Because the country is entirely flat, rising sea levels pose a direct existential threat. Climate scientists have run the projections, and the data suggests 4/5 of the country could be underwater by 2050, rendering it entirely uninhabitable by the end of the century. Booking a flight here is a choice to visit a nation that is actively fighting for its physical survival against the ocean. The glossy marketing also masks the cultural reality. The expectation for most tourists involves tropical cocktails and bikinis. The reality on the ground is that the Maldives is a strictly Islamic nation that operates under Sharia law. Islam arrived here in the 12th century. The local culture, the laws, and the rhythms of daily life have been structured around the faith for nearly 1,000 years, long before the first overwater bungalow was ever constructed. To reconcile conservative religious society with a lucrative tourism industry, the government created a quarantine system. They lease uninhabited islands to foreign hospitality companies, allowing them to build private, self-contained resorts where local religious laws are completely suspended. This creates a logistical fork in the road for anyone planning a trip. You have to decide if you want to buy your way into one of those manufactured private resort bubbles, or if you are willing to navigate the friction of staying on an inhabited local island. Your choice dictates every variable of your vacation. It determines how much you spend, what you eat, and which version of the Maldives you are legally permitted to experience. This comparison matrix breaks down the exact trade-offs between the two paths. We'll evaluate cost, food, liberties, marine access, and local impact. Let's start with the resort path. You pay a massive premium for frictionless luxury. A standard stay starts around $400 a night, and those iconic overwater bungalows frequently push the bill past $1,000, occasionally reaching up to $11,000 a night at top-tier properties. Getting to these isolated bubbles requires specialized logistics. Depending on the distance from the capital, you'll need to book a speedboat transfer or board a seaplane to reach your destination. The return on that investment is uncompromised Western liberties. Because the resorts hold special licenses, alcohol is freely available, and there are absolutely no restrictions on swimwear anywhere on the island. The hidden cost of those liberties is cultural sterilization. Your meals are imported, and you will spend the entirety of your trip interacting almost exclusively with expatriate staff and other tourists. If you are a solo traveler or someone who likes an active, varied itinerary, you will likely hit a wall of boredom here. These islands are engineered for honeymooners who want to lie still in a beautiful setting. The resort path is a straightforward transaction. You are paying an astronomical fee to guarantee absolute comfort, a predictable aesthetic, and total isolation from the outside world. Now, let's look at the local island path. If you stay in a guest house in a local community, your financial commitment drops drastically, typically landing between $50 and $150 a night. Those savings require strict adherence to local laws. There is zero alcohol permitted on these islands. You are also required to dress modestly in public spaces, with swimwear restricted entirely to designated tourist areas known as bikini beaches. You will also eat what the locals eat. The traditional Maldivian diet is highly affordable and relies almost entirely on two ingredients: freshly caught yellowfin tuna and coconut. You share the island's infrastructure with the people who actually live there. You navigate public ferry schedules, ride on traditional wooden dhoni boats, and follow the daily rhythm of a working Maldivian community. You also gain access to world-class marine wildlife by hiring local dive guides. They navigate the reef currents daily and can take you directly to manta ray cleaning stations and nurse shark habitats, completely bypassing the massive tour groups from the resorts. Staying locally slashes your budget and provides genuine cultural immersion, provided you'll embrace the logistical friction and respect the rules of an Islamic society. Underpinning both of these paths is the fragile marine ecosystem. The coral reef is the literal foundation of the country. It acts as a defense wall, shattering swells offshore so islands don't wash away. In 2016, a severe marine heat wave pushed water temperatures past the survival threshold for the local polyps. The resulting coral bleaching decimated an estimated 60% of the nation's reefs, turning centuries-old structures bone white in a single season. Every dollar spent here has a direct environmental consequence. You can send your budget offshore to corporate luxury conglomerates, or you can spend it locally to support communities practicing sustainable fishing and building climate resilience. The Maldivian government has tried desperate measures to force international action. In 2009, the president and his cabinet actually held a formal meeting underwater in scuba gear to show the world where their country is headed if emissions rise. Where you choose to stay determines whether you are extracting resources from a dying ecosystem or financially backing the people trying to save it. To finalize your decision, follow this flowchart. Ask yourself what your primary objective is: uninterrupted comfort or cultural adventure. If your priority is absolute relaxation, you have the budget, and you want to drink wine on a private deck over turquoise water without worrying about modest dress codes, the resort path is built specifically for you. If you are comfortable foregoing alcohol, you don't mind wearing a t-shirt in town, and you want to stretch your budget to experience the actual food and people of the region, book a guest house on a local island. While tourists evaluate these options, the locals are preparing for a harsher reality. To survive the rising ocean, the government is actively pumping sand from the seafloor to construct artificial, elevated lifeboat islands like Malé, designed to house citizens fleeing lower atolls. Whether you drop $100,000 on a private villa or spend $2 on a local breakfast, visiting the Maldives is a fleeting window into an ancient culture. You are photographing a place that has a very real chance of disappearing before the end of your lifetime.